Okay everyone, just a few quick announcements to make. First of all, I have enabled channel memberships. Right now the only membership tier available is for 149 CAD. And if you would like to support this channel and more importantly have access to exclusive emotes that I'm sure you'll use responsibly in the comments section, feel free to join. 2 of the 5 emotes have already been selected, with the last 3 being open for discussion. Speaking of discussion, a great way to have that would be a Discord server. If only we had I have a Discord server. Should I lose access to this channel or have announcements to make outside of YouTube, this would likely be the best place to expect for me to use. In terms of emotes and badges, I am going to have a chat for suggestion and art submissions available and will announce which emotes will be implemented soon. I'm also open to suggestions for what I can offer higher tiers should there be any interest. Thank you so much for listening, and be sure to drink plenty of... Whoops, that's for the end of the video. Anyways. As the waves in the shores that we call our lives ebbs and flows, so too must the tides of memories we have received from Terra recede, in order for us to sail evermore towards other journeys. As such, let us take a moment to ruminate and draw inferences between the moments that we shared with our manager and the moments that Rhodes Island recounts. To begin, let us recall 2 of the most formidable opponents that clashed upon us like waves to a shore, the self-proclaimed Last Knight, and Mayors, the yearning flotsam. Similar to Arknights, the Last Knight carries 2 distinct forms in battle, with both forms possessing the frigid defenses it carried against our sinners, and having its effect doubled after sustaining an extensive degree of damage. It is also to be noted that he is familiar with the cold loneliness of the ocean and will take advantage of this vulnerability to strike with an increased level of force to any sinners ensnared by its icy grasp. Similar to our experiences, the knight in Arknights appears to have a shift in tactics after his initial HP drops to 0, and in his second phase he fully emulates the mentality of a crashing wave, by maintaining a state which allows him to permeate past any defenses despite the best efforts of the defenders of Rhodes Island. This is reflected well in our encounter by the fact that all of his coins become unbreakable, and should we unwillingly permit, turns his greatest attack into an onslaught of undefendable madness.
No way, dude, can you stop being...
The Knight's corpus in both iterations applies a similar 80% defense reduction, though in Arknights it is a trinket acquirable through a decision made before combat, whilst in Arknights it is a result of a debilitating strike our sinners, should skill grace them that day, can apply. Despite the imposing physique and high degree of defense, he is vulnerable to status attacks and debuffs. Our encounter seems to mimic this by amplifying the application of effects such as burn, rupture, or its other counterparts to twice its normal amounts should the knight's mental faculties drop below a specific threshold. The similarities between our compatriots' experiences and our own does not stop at just combat. As with sailing the seas, the ideal method of survival is to familiarize ourselves with appropriate signage, such as the name of the passive, Fate's Favored Child, is also a reference to the name of the encounter in which you combat this knight in Arknights. The majority of the musical accompaniment during the combat that transpires in this Intervallo takes heavy inspiration from their Arknights counterparts. The most notable ones are with the key antagonists of our journey. The Last Knight is inspired by the Arknights version of this fight. And Mayors takes hers from the Arknights Undertides event main theme. As we now listen to the musical motifs that Mayors seems to bear, Let us now listen to the intricacies and similarities that can be found in our struggle against her as well. Meyers emulates Martis in both visage and combat, as they are both Aegirians that were turned into Seaborn. Their combat strategies are similar as well, not relying on direct confrontation, but rather the augmentation of their compatriots to assist them during our encounter. During the struggle, an opportunity arrives when you are tasked to select a module for the machinery known as a Little Handy. This carries great familiarity to the mechanic in the event labeled as Stultifera Nauis in Arknights. The modules' names themselves are fully taken from their Arknights counterparts, and the upgrades themselves remain consistent across both games. Let us now discuss content which extends beyond the main scenario of the Intervallo. The mirror dungeon floor of Arknights will naturally take inspiration from its original counterparts. Each event node, except for the one that is a direct reference to Meyers, takes heavy inspiration to the ones that exist in Arknights, with their respective gifts also reflecting or at least having similar purpose to their original counterparts. Doing a story of lighthouse keepers and the profound silence introduces the manager to an old Iberian housekeeper, who then rewards the players with a silver key bundle, which in Arknights is called the 3-key contract. Its description reading: according to regulations, lighthouse keepers must always carry 3 keys. 1 to unlock the main door, another to establish communication, and 1 to activate the searchlight. Sign your name and the contract is set in stone. Carry the keys with you at all times, regardless of life or death. In the Limbus encounter, the old Iberian housekeeper gives you his keys before allowing the sea to take hold of whatever was left of his life. While in Arknights, the possession of keys is an actual game mechanic to unlock alternate nodes and chests for rewards. Limbus Company converts them into ego resources. The Sea Terror Jerky event, which items share the same name and purpose from Arknights, which is a defense reduction of enemies, can be obtained from its subsequent event, where the team is approached by a group of hooded people and offered food in the pretense of charity. The cultists involved refer to it as fin beasts, but the actual item acquired is named a Sea Terror Jerky. This is no misnomer, as in Arknights, edible fish are called fin beasts, and the cultist calling it so is an obvious attempt at deception. The Arknights' description of the same item highlights this, reading: once their desire to survive overwhelms their terror, the famished Iberians will devour this food, subsequently turning into sea terrors on some ordinary day. It was an obvious trap concocted by the cultists, malignantly capitalizing on the misfortune and hunger of the Iberians to poison them with seaborn flesh. When you encounter an Inquisitor locked in a fight against sea terrors, this is a reference, or at least a parallel, to Irene's mentor, Dario, who in Arknights does meet his end, braving the storm of an overwhelming wave of seaborn. His lantern can be obtained in Arknights, its description reading: a lantern once wielded by an Inquisitor, Dario. Even after his death, the flames of his conviction still burn brightly upon this land. While chronologically, that specific event has yet to happen, as the Intervallo itself takes place between Undertides and Stultifera Nauis, the parallel of a dying Inquisitor and the item's purpose of cleansing negative status effects should make it clear as to what meaning it bears to represent. Lastly, the event labeled as the Glorious Past of Iberia, while not directly carried from Arknights, does reference a certain king's greed, and while not directly seen in Arknights, does have multiple items and encounters that mention this king and the affluence that he bore. Finally, 2 minuscule but not unimportant inferences can be drawn. The first is in regards to the date in which the event ends. In terms of dates of release, the week in which the event ends is roughly the same time in which Undertides, the first of 3 events featuring seaborn enemies, released 4 years ago, which is also the same day this video has been uploaded, October 21st. And lastly, the stage where a formidable encounter transpires utilizes a similar icon it does in the Arknights version of the mirror dungeon system. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to drink plenty of water.